During the End Bad Governance protests, police officers were deployed to safeguard protesters, protect lives and property, and prevent disruptions caused by infiltrators seeking to hijack the demonstrations. Contrary to Amnesty International's claims, there is no credible evidence to support allegations of killings or excessive use of force by the police. Reports of officers firing live rounds at protesters or targeting unarmed civilians are baseless and were not corroborated by independent investigations. Evidence available to the Nigerian police force indicates that certain elements infiltrated the protests with the intention of inciting violence, destroying public property, and endangering public safety. The police responded with minimum force without the use of firearms to disperse such disruptive elements in accordance with legal guidelines. Detentions and prosecutions were conducted with legal frameworks, and allegations of arbitrary arrests, maltreatment, or denial of legal access are unsubstantiated. The report released by Amnesty International on the End Bad Governance protests in Nigeria is inaccurate and misleading. All international organizations that are independent of political and economic interests are required by ethical and international best practices to demonstrate objectivity, fairness, and balance in their reportage. Unfortunately, these qualities were missing in the Amnesty International's report. The Nigerian police force in this present dispensation, under the amiable leadership of IGP Kayode Adeolu, has demonstrated high level of professionalism in public order management across the country. Our standard operating procedure with respect to peaceful public protest is to provide security for peaceful protesters to conduct their protests unmolested by opposing groups, miscreants, and criminal elements. Most importantly, our commitment is to ensure that peaceful protests do not turn violent or endanger the lives and property of other law-abiding citizens. Where protesters begin to loot, burn, pillage property, and kill innocent citizens, including law enforcement agents, the police are duty-bound to halt the drift into anarchy using minimum force. Finally, the police will wish to draw the attention of Amnesty International to the recent decision of the United Nations General Assembly at the 5th session of the Human Rights Council held between 13th June and 8th July 2022, published in its report reference A/HRC/50/42, page 18, paragraph 81b. The UN Human Rights Council stated thus: in regard to facilitating peaceful protest, states should issue protocols on the facilitation of peaceful protest for law enforcement compatible with international standards regarding the use of force, laying out measures to protect peaceful protesters, bystanders, monitors, lawyers, and medics, including from counter-protesters and other targeted forms of violence during a variety of crisis situations, and providing for graduated use of force, setting clear limitations on the use of lethal and less lethal weapons. Such protocols must take into account a gender perspective and address the vulnerability of different groups. This decision by the United Nations Human Rights Council has been the gold standard for the Nigerian police force, and our established protocols, which we have followed diligently, is to provide adequately for the security and safety of protesters by ensuring that criminal elements and hoodlums do not take undue advantage to cause total breakdown of law and order. Pillaging and wanton destruction of public and private property. For example, the Skill Acquisition Center of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees was looted and vandalized. The warehouse of the World Food Programme, located on Baga Maimalari Barracks Road, Maiduguri, was also looted, with several items belonging to the international organization destroyed and stolen by some of the protesters. Of particular interest is the reported death of 3 fuel attendants at AA Kime filling station, that is Nasiru Mustafa, 26 years, Amadou Garba Maina, 24 years, and Momodi Hassan. Amnesty International claimed on pages 22 and 25 of its report that these 3 individuals died when a hand grenade was thrown into the filling station by a convoy of police vehicles. These allegations are not only false and misleading, but are also a clear attempt to incite the general public against the police and tarnish the image of the Nigerian police force in the eyes of the international community. For the record, the Nigerian police does not possess or utilize explosive hand grenades in its operations. Explosive hand grenades have never been purchased, issued, or utilized by the Nigerian police force since its establishment as a law enforcement agency. How and where Amnesty International obtained such information can only be speculated upon by mischievous minds. To set the record straight, the trial of Nasiru Mustafa, Amadou Garba Maina, and Momodu Hassan, all staff of Kimes and Sons filling station, were killed by an improvised explosive device, IED, fabricated with a safety-free mechanism and planted at the filling station on Baga Road, Maiduguri, not at Bolori Junction, as Amnesty International claimed. Furthermore, these 3 young men were not protesting when they met their untimely deaths. In fact, they did not participate in the protests and were believed to have been killed for choosing to ignore the protests and continue with their lawful business. It should also be noted that the Nigeria police, based on credible intelligence, had warned ahead of the protest of thorough elements planning to infiltrate the demonstrations. The protests in Borno on 1st of August 2024 witnessed 3 IED explosions planted by unknown persons at the following locations: the Ribe Junction along Bulunkutu Abuja Road in Maiduguri, Kimen and Sons filling station along Baga Road, Maiduguri, and a residential area within Maiduguri metropolis. The police bomb disposal unit responded to these explosions, recovered evidence of the improvised explosive devices, and facilitated the evacuation of casualties to the hospital.